All right, guys. Hey, listen. Mind games, mind games, mind games. This house is man, really on my radar lately, and we have another banger to go over with you guys. Strap up, maybe get some coffee, because we're talking about a plum fragrance today. All right, before I put it on screen, Miles, come up here and give me my intro.
Welcome back to the set bubble, and today
You got to talk into the microphone. Get over here. I flashed the header and you messed up. Okay.
I can't end that.
That's okay.
Welcome back to the set bubble, and today we are going to
Talk about this one right here.
mentor mind games for women and men.
Thank you so much. All right, buddy, go sit down.
I'll see you over there.
No. You'll see them on the flip side. Go sit down.
Okay. No, other side. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, guys, from the House of Mind Games, this is Mentor. And for those of you who don't know, no, I did not buy a bottle of Mentor, but I will be, unfortunately. But I mainly was only worried about performance with a lot of the fragrances from these houses, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. I think it was just another parameter for me to justify the spend. But today we're going to be smelling Mentor. I'm going to just precursor you. I have already put my nose to it, but I loaded it up with the sprayer, took it in the car. We are now an hour after dry down to just make sure the fragrance doesn't fall apart. For those of you who don't know, the House of Mind Games has modeled their whole series after a chess board. And so each of these fragrances is kind of like a chess piece. It seems so far like all their fragrances are unisex. And I got to be honest, what's so unique about their fragrances as unisex fragrances is when I think of a unisex fragrance, I think of a fragrance that is almost genderless, if that makes sense in most cases. Though there are some that are kind of more masculine or feminine leaning. But with Mind Games, it's like they took the man and the female and put them in the bottle, like completely. Like none of them are compromising at all in terms of their masculine and female elements. They're not, but they're married together as well as a great fragrance. It's so hard to explain. We went over Checkmate the other day, and it's so amazing how it very strongly feels like a woman fragrance, but then it very strongly feels like a man fragrance due to the earthiness, and yet they come together. It's like if you lean close and pick them apart, you can, but at a distance, the blend is just so smooth and so complex. It's unlike it's unlike your experience with most unisex fragrances. I'll put it at that. Okay, what are we dealing with Mentor? I'm going to give you my second initial thought on this because my first initial thought when I was in Neiman's was, wow, this is incredible. It was reminiscent of Paragon from Initio. I believe that fragrance is Plum and Palo Santo as some of the star accords. And so I felt like I was getting Palo Santo from this, if anything, absolutely getting this rich, ambery plum note. That's probably the star of the show by about 50 or 60%, but man, it is quite jazzed up in the back to just feel like I almost smell a coffee note similar to Kawa, and I'm so ashamed to mention that fragrance in a fragrance video that's niche talking about a $500 fragrance, but it's so similar to Kawa's coffee note. It's unreal. So I smell some coffee, a significant portion of it dancing up against plum. You wouldn't think plum and coffee go together. They do. I'm here to confirm that for you. It's vanillic, it's spicy, it's fruity, it's coffee, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. Let's go ahead and switch screens here. This is one of the black bottle fragrances, not one of the white clear ones, but wow. Okay. Wow. Look at this, boys and girls. Caramel. Oh, that's why it smells like Kawa, because Kawa has I call it a caramel latte, which most people call it coffee. which it does not smell like coffee. It smells like caramel latte. When I think coffee, I think this right here, this black bean coffee. So anyways, up top we have caramel, plum, Italian lemon. You oddly get the lemon too. It's crazy. In the mid, you get coffee, amber, resins, and cassis. What is cassis? It looks like weed. Leaves and buds in black currant. Okay. You don't really get that much. You get the resin, you get the amber, you get the coffee, you get the caramel, you get the plum, you get the lemon. Tonka, oud, and sandalwood. Guys, I get all of that. Let me just explain it like this. Because looking at a note breakdown like that, you will never in your wildest dreams be able to imagine what this smells like. Mind Games fragrances are too complex to imagine, but I'm about to get you as close as you'll ever get to this fragrance. This is somewhat dark, okay? Not dark like mysterious, can't understand it, but dark gourmand, okay? Is this unisex? Yes, it is. Okay. It's a dark gourmand with a unique twist of plum. Okay. So think of the caramel, think of the spices, this kind of almost angel share-esqueness, but without the cognac. So it's just extremely holiday sweet, almost even potpourri like, ashamedly to say, but this feels fresher. It doesn't feel as stock. You know what I'm saying? It's got these gourmandish elements, the caramel, the coffee, and that's definitely very much there. But then what kind of cuts through is this note of plum and lemon, which contrast it almost and give it such a different nuance so that you're not just in that kind of brown sugar-esque vibe. But then the amber kind of is the glue of all of it because it warms it all up, and it is resinous as well. Like, it doesn't just feel like warm amber, but it kind of has like a almost woody, warm, embery resinous quality to it that's quite special. It's odd how fresh it is for how dense it is. Normally with gourmands, it just feels thick and heavy and like glue. This is heavy and thick, but it's almost like light still. Like imagine yourself wearing like a very expensive Montclair bubble jacket. The jacket looks big and it feels extremely warm and nice to cuddle up inside, but it's so light and airy on you. That's how this is as a gourmand fragrance. The gourmand notes and the fruit notes are very much there and in your face, but there's a lightness to it. When you walk, you don't just feel like this is a holiday fragrance. This feels like it could go holiday, but it also feels like it could be like a very left field kind of date night / special night vibes event that you could throw this on and not feel like you can only wear it at Thanksgiving and on Christmas and when it's super snowy outside. But I will say this is a luxury fragrance for cold weather. Or let's say colder weather, because it doesn't have to be freezing to enjoy this. But for freezing, it has an executive feel to it, but it's more luxury than it is suit and tie. I'm very happy with this fragrance. I definitely think it's going to be super circumstantial. It's both a holiday fragrance and a special occasion fragrance that you'd break out. You do not want to wear a fragrance like this all the time, and that's unfortunate because I think not many bottles come in 50 mLs or less. So the more and more I'm reviewing these Mind Game fragrances, the more I feel like you have to get a travel set. Like, I wish you could just pick 4 or 5 fragrances that you can just spend $100 on and get 10 mLs or 5 mLs of each of them. And that way you can bust them out as very selective special occasion fragrances, because this is a special occasion fragrance. I love the take on the gourmand to put the fruits in there, especially plum and lemon being so distinct. You would never in a million years think that goes with coffee and caramel and resin and amber, but it does. This fragrance radiates, it warms up on skin, and it makes the gourmand caramel baked good feel seem more interesting with the plum note. The oud just kind of adds this complexity, that luxury element that it wouldn't have, I think, had it not had the oud in it. And I think the tonka bean and sandalwood just kind of glue and round out all of those notes together. You know, you have amber, you have resin, you have cassis, you have coffee, caramel, plum, lemon. That's a lot. And so to really give that some glue, I think the tonka bean, the oud, and the sandalwood as a base just kind of hugs all of it and keeps it as this very lively and fun fragrance. Very circumstantial, though. I don't think it's worth 100 ml. Or I don't think 100 ml is warranted for how selective of a fragrance this is, but it is very nice. I think women could actually very much use a 100 ml bottle of this, but certainly not men. Men would only use it for very special occasions, whereas a woman, I think, smelling that fruity and that tasty, there's more reasons to smell fruity and tasty as a woman than as a man. So that being said, cold weather fragrance, again, so far with Mind Games fragrances, I don't think you can be under 25 wearing a fragrance like this. It's very complex. I give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I don't really give it a 10 out of 10 is because it's so selective. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so selective of a fragrance that it's hard to justify as a man. I think women could easily call this fragrance a 10 out of 10, no question. But for a man, it's so selective, justifying spending $400 or $500 for a 100 ml fragrance that you might wear less than 5-10 times a year. I would say 5 or less. Unless you have a lot of nightlife in your life, then you might bust it out, once or twice a month type of thing, or a couple times a month. I don't know. It just, even if it was affordable or more affordable, it would still be such a circumstantial fragrance. And to me, a 10 out of 10 signature fragrance has to have utility to it to some degree. It doesn't have to be any season, any reason, any occasion, but more utility than what I've described. Alternatives, just to put your nose in the realm of what this is, which I wish I would have done that earlier, but I'm long-winded. This fragrance, wow. And matter of fact, I need to write this down because I definitely need to do this as a combo. This fragrance feels like the Palo Santo and Plum fragrance that's cloning Initio's Paragon, which is Vintage Radio. So that's a $20, $30 fragrance. This feels like Vintage Radio mixed with Kamra Kawa. And I'm actually so excited to try that out because the only thing you're really missing with that blend is oud. So it might be a little less sophisticated, but you'll probably nail about 80% of the fragrance just off that alone. I am so excited to give that a shot. And I'm going to take some notes real quick. Vintage Radio and Kamra Kawa. Yeah, guys. So, I mean, if a fragrance like this is just completely out of your budget, which for most of you guys, especially that watch my channel, it is, go and take Vintage Radio and mix it with Kamra Kawa on a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, both of those fragrances are borderline nuclear, so I would do something along the lines of 1 spray each and call it a day. If you want to be gutsy or you're in super cold aerated weather, you could go two on the front, 2 on the back. But yeah, 1 spray of each right on top of each other, and you are going to have about 80% of what Mentor smells like. But anyways, let me know if you guys have put your nose to this fragrance. Again, this is a black bottle fragrance, and it is a men and women fragrance. And let me know if you guys have put your nose to it. If you have any questions about it, I know this is hard to acquire and hard to get your nose on, but I do think, guys, so far, I think it's safe to say that you should get the Discovery or the Travel set of Mind Games type fragrances because they seem very selective, even though I do think there are some that are kind of, multi-day-a-week occasion fragrances. But this one was good. I probably give it, I have to give it a 9 for uniqueness, guys. Put vintage radio next to Kawa, and you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of uniqueness. Good formulation, 10-hour plus fragrance. But I do think that we just established an alternative that's affordable. It does take 2 fragrances to get there, but it's good. So let me know if you've put your nose to it. And in the meantime, definitely try to find your way to get a travel set to get all of these fragrances in your hands, because they're at the very least extremely interesting, but somewhat circumstantial. Great fragrance. I give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. Yeah. Miles, any final thoughts?
We're logging out of the scent bubble. Bye. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow night.
Maybe he'll see you tomorrow night. Hey, guys, this was Mentor from the Mind Games, and it is a unisex fragrance, and this is the Scent Bubble signing out. You have a blessed week. Peace, guys.
Bye.